The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking the 1969 film Valley of Gwangi. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this episode of the Salt and Nerd Podcast, where we cover old-ass movies for retro WeWatch. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader's here. What's up, dude?
Dude, I'm mad at you.
Why are you mad at me?
Because you picked this thing.
I did.
You're supposed to pick good movies.
This is a good movie. Jude is also here.
Wait.
There you go. Jerry, hello.
I'm bothering Vader.
It's too loud. You're
Can you turn her specifically down in my headphones?
Can you turn just Jude down a little bit?
Can you silence the one with the vagina?
That's not what I mean at all.
Matthew Kadish is also here. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, I'm with Vader on this one. This was a rough movie to watch.
It's
basically King Kong, but with cowboys and dinosaurs.
The world's worst dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're not even like Clash of the Titans good.
No, they look like...
Alex just went, oh, dinosaurs. and fucking... So we're watching that one, guys. So, yeah. That's what
These
happened.
dinosaurs look like the old plastic dinosaurs that you got at the dollar store.
Because they were.
They probably weren't, dude. These things had movement. They ate people. There's a lot of... I think for 1969, they put in some work for this.
Okay. Once we finally got to them.
Yeah. It took a minute.
80 minutes into the movie.
It's because it's an old movie. They're like, people have attention spans. That doesn't exist anymore. But anyway, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to dive into this amazing, fun, goofy, retro movie, Valley of Gwangi. I can't wait to talk about it. There's a couple of lines in this movie that just freaking crack me up. But we'll get there in a minute. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you guys want to support what we do here, go to saltynerd.com/DC and download a mobile game called Dragon Champions on your Apple or Android device. And it's a really fun, easy to play hero collecting game where you get to grab your heroes, upgrade them, and go on the warpath and hang out with cool nerds like us. Don't forget, type in SALTY in the promo code area to get credit for joining our little community, and also gives you a leg up on the competition. You get some extra stuff, a couple extra characters, some gold, some mojo, whatever they call it. It's easy to play, like I said, a lot of fun. And if you guys get to level 20, you can join our guild, which is ran by one of our patrons, JT. It's highly suggested that you guys play it. Vader was playing it earlier while we were recording the podcast. He's like, I gotta get my new month dailies, man. It's November. And so saltynerd.com/DC. All right, Valley of Gwangi. Dude, take it away, Jude.
Isn't it Valley of the Gwangi?
Is it of the Gwangi?
Yeah.
Is it?
No, it's the Valley of Gwangi.
Yeah, the Valley of Gwangi.
1969, The Valley of the Gwangi. Rated G with a runtime of 1 hour 36 minutes. This had a budget that doesn't exist and a box office of nope.
Really?
Yeah.
I
couldn't find anything on this movie.
I'm curious. Kadish, did you find anything?
No, so the story behind this movie is that basically after it was made, Warner Brothers, which produced the film, had a change in leadership. And they didn't like this movie, and so they buried it in with a double feature that kind of went straight to like the drive-ins. And so there was no actual box office for this film, and there's no actual budget information on it either. So it's kind of a weird movie.
Wow.
So kind of like what's going on at Warner Brothers right now.
Yeah. That's great. I had no idea. I'm going to guess. 1969 money. I think the budget.
40 million.
maybe $1 million.
You're out of your fucking mind.
$12.
$12?
Yeah, this cost maybe $30,000 to make.
No. Is there anybody famous in it?
No.
Like super famous?
No.
No, this is like a B movie.
They literally went to
Maybe
Mexico.
the elephant.
They literally went to Mexico and said, hey guys, we're going to make a movie today.
Yeah.
We'll feed everybody if you come hang out.
In Mexico.
Yeah. Okay. When I say action, everybody scatter.
Everybody run. Everybody run in crazy directions. Pretend King Kong, a dinosaur is following you.
Perfect.
You know.
All right, let's get into it. Jude, take it away.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. Some carnies find a tiny horse and intend to use it in their circus act, but superstitions run high in the circus. A group of no-good horse thieves kidnap the tiny horse to have it lead them to the Forbidden Valley, where they find an ecosystem of claymation dinosaurs, hungry and thriving. And the best part of the movie is when a Triceratops and a T-Rex fight. Catching up to the horse thieves inside the Valley of Claymation, the carnies spy a bigger, no pun intended, prize than the tiny horse, and bring a T-Rex back to the circus, where I'm sure everything works out and no humans or elephants were eaten. Discuss.
I had so much fun with this movie, dude.
You fucking was.
Why?
It's just fun to see, like, Steven Spielberg and Jurassic Park set like
Don't
the
you
dino.
dare.
They set
get that out of
they
your mouth.
set this freaking bar, and like nobody's been able to touch it since. And I love going back before that movie to see like people were not afraid to do dinosaurs.
This movie had nothing to do with
I know it had nothing to do with it, but I'm saying
no inspiration from it.
I don't know, dude.
They didn't
The
have
T-Rex was 7 feet tall.
it was a
No.
baby. It was basically a large velociraptor.
he was bigger than that.
Not really.
I think so. Those guys were on horses,
Eh.
and they were like roping it up.
They
in this
pulled it in a cart.
Well,
that they made out of
It depended on how
sticks.
big
And
it
all-
was on the scene.
in all fairness, the size of Gwangi varied wildly from shot to shot.
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
100%.
No, I just have fun watching like what dinosaur movies used to be like, because once the 1993 film came out, it was like that's all anybody wants to see dinosaurs, that's their benchmark. Like I love seeing the older dinosaur movies. And also because this was 1969 and our main antagonist / main character, TJ or whatever, is just a
The
complete
girl?
douche.
No. TJ's the girl.
TJ's the girl? What was the
Yeah.
guy's name?
I don't know.
Miles or something
Kent?
like that? Or-
Generic Western name, dude.
Yeah.
yeah.
Call him Buck.
He was such an asshole. I loved it. He was
look
like,
it up.
don't.
No, his
think
name was
it's
Tuck.
Miles.
Tuck. That's right.
Tuck.
My name is
Whatever.
Tuck. I'm here to fuck.
He
really was.
He really was.
Yeah.
He really was.
This son of a bitch rolls into town and he's like, "Hey, partner." She's like, "You mean ex-partner because you left me high and dry and you
Yeah.
fucked me over." And he's like, "I got a new business proposition for you." And because she's a fucking woman in a movie in 1969, she's like, "Are we gonna get married?"
The amount of shit that this couple goes through in this movie is hilarious, because like one of the first things he says to her is like, "Well, if you keep that attitude up, I'm going to put you over my knee."
You and me are gonna have a nice, quiet little talk, senorita. Or I might just decide to put you across my knee.
That shit was so funny. I was dying laughing at that stuff, man. You didn't find that funny? You always find that shit funny.
That's kind of funny.
Thank you.
I mean, he was
He's
probably
upset
checked out by that
He's
point.
upset because she never made Tuck a sandwich. He's like, "Oh, this isn't realistic. Fuck
Well,
this movie."
Well, in this movie, she should have made him a burrito or something. But yeah.
So you want to hear something funny? So this movie is technically a British film, but it was shot in Spain by a British director with an American lead actor, an Israeli actress, and a supporting cast of British and Spanish actors, produced in England and released through a U.S. distributor. So it's truly an international film.
Wow.
So I don't think she's actually Israeli. I think she is French, but when they discovered her, it was in Israel.
No, it's actress Gila Golan,
Yeah.
and she was basically forced into this movie by an executive at Warner Brothers who was banging her, and her Israeli accent was so strong that they had to overdub all of her lines
Yeah.
with an uncredited American actress.
Yeah, you can totally tell that she's overdubbed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like when I was watching this with Jude, I was like, is it just me or is like every line of hers overdubbed? And I was like, she must have had like some type of accent. And it turns out like her Israeli accent was so thick that like you couldn't understand what she was saying. So like they had to go back in and like redub all of her lines.
All right, I'll show you tonight. But first, the patient must rest.
Oh, sound happier. Fat chance. This is TJ, remember?
And when I was doing research into this movie, it's like, oh yeah, Warner Brothers insisted that she be
Yeah.
given this role. And I was like, that means she's banging someone at
Yeah,
Warner
so
Brothers.
she was
Yeah.
born in Poland, and she was discovered at a train station in German occupation in 1940.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get real here. She is kind of a smoke show.
Oh, she's
She
super hot.
is, yeah.
Especially in this opening scene where
she's my favorite.
where
part
she's
of
in the
movie.
circus outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Beautiful lady. That Tuck guy's an asshole, though.
Oh, he's the worst.
He's
Why?
the worst.
What's wrong with Tuck?
He's such an ass.
Buck.
He's just like,
His name's Buck. Buck
Buck.
naked.
Buck naked.
Buck naked.
he's just
Naked. Fuck you guys.
he's just a con man, dude. That's all. He's just I'm just here for the money. See,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna find yourself a new circus to go with.
My theory is that all the humans in this movie are the villains because they're such assholes. Every one of them's an asshole.
Yeah, except for the crazy, creepy.
The kid's cool.
The kid's cool. What's his
Lupe?
name? Lupe. Loopy.
Lope.
Oh, I think Tuck calls him Loopy.
Lope.
Yeah, something probably.
Lope.
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 But no, the main takeaway from this movie is that if an angry, one-eyed Spanish lady tells you not to do something,
Actually,
She's a gypsy.
she's Romanian.
Yeah,
She's a gypsy, dude.
she's of the Romani.
Those dirty gypsies always throwing.
she wasn't Spanish.
No.
Nope.
Oh,
That's
man.
what this movie makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
Why-
I
what
was
are-
like, they're in Mexico. I thought she was a Spanish.
Why are there Romanian gypsies in Mexico
I don't know.
guarding the Valley of the cursed Gwangi?
Gwangi.
Or whatever the
Well,
fuck.
what's funny is Gwangi is Native American for lizard, right? And originally, the original title of this was either the Valley of the Mists or the Valley That Time Forgot. Kind of went
I
through.
wish it would have been the Valley of the Mist with no mist.
So like you know.
Claymation mist.
Yeah. This movie went through a lot of different kind of iterations in terms of like what it was called. But this is a Ray Harryhausen movie. And Ray Harryhausen's like the special effects pioneer that basically kind of like revolutionized the use of stop motion animation within movies. And so, he was the one who did all like the special effects for Clash of the Titans. Yes. So like he was famous for doing that. And basically his mentor, who was a man named Willis O'Brien, who did all the special effects for the original King Kong. This was like a passion project of his, and he had been trying to get it going at RKO for like a number of years, just never happened. And then he ended up passing away before he could get it made. And so Ray Harryhausen felt like it was his obligation to get this made to kind of honor his mentor. And so this was like, Ray Harryhausen kind of pushing this movie to be made, even though nobody thought it was very good.
I wish you hadn't told me that Ray Harryhausen was attached to this, because it makes me think less of him.
Oh,
This is garbage.
Why is it garbage?
It's crap. This looks like it was animated by a 12-year-old in art class in school. It's not good. Ray Harryhausen is a fucking god. Okay? You go watch his stuff like on Sinbad and Clash of the Titans and those movies. It's next level compared to this stuff. This looks like he didn't even try.
Well, he probably didn't have as much of a budget.
I don't know what it is, but I'm really upset right now that this has his name attached to it.
I still had fun with it. I don't care how bad the dinosaurs were. They were obviously little claymation things, but there's a lot of really cool stunts in this movie that they did. I don't know how they did it, but they did them.
They fell off a horse a lot.
They did fall off a lot of horses.
Fall off a horse.
But there was that one scene
And,
when the circus, when they lit the thing on fire, and there's a camera inside the wagon while it's on fire with a cowboy sitting there going, "Oh shit!" Like I'm like, that's not fake. That dude was in the fire.
Well, one of the interesting things about this is that everyone who was working on this movie thought the director was an idiot. And the director was reported to have lost interest in the film about 2 months into shooting. And so he was just kind of phoning it in. He was like, I don't care. But basically the special effects in this film were revolutionary for the time. So like they shot this movie in 1967 and it wasn't released until 1969. And during that, it basically took them a year and a half to do all the special effects. And one of the most revolutionary special effects in the movie is when the cowboys are all roping Gwangi, and they have these 4 lassos around his neck, and they're all like trying to keep him steady. And when they were shooting it, they basically had this truck with like a big log in the back that was standing straight up that they would rope, and kind of like have the actors like running around. And then they had to go in and they had to superimpose the dinosaur in there, and then also match how like all the ropes were. And that sequence alone took Ray Harryhausen something like 2.5 months just doing that one sequence. And at the time, there's something at the end of the movie where like the elephant fights the dinosaur, and they didn't have an elephant on set. So like Ray Harryhausen had to go in there and be like, okay, well, I'm going to stop motion animate an elephant as well. And so like that added to it. So by the time this movie was ready to go, they'd gone through like 2 years of post-production, and Warner Brothers was just like,
You're still working on that?
Yeah, we're so over this movie. We're just going to put it out there. And Ray Harryhausen was very bitter about it because he was like, like we put so much time and effort into this movie, and the studio just kind of buried it. And this was meant to honor my mentor. And this was actually the last movie that Ray Harryhausen ever did a dinosaur in because he was like so disgusted with how it was treated.
Did you guys, speaking of the elephant at that end, did you guys notice the amazing voiceover work that the guy did for the elephant?
Yeah.
Like, it's so obviously just a dude with a megaphone going.
That elephant looked like a some kind of like dinner table centerpiece.
Yeah. It was goofy looking for sure. It looked like they maybe like animated that one from the Batman.
What year did you
TV
say
show that we did?
It was shot in 1967. And
yeah,
it was released in
honestly,
1969.
I'm looking at a trailer for the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's the Harryhausen one.
It is.
And this was made in 1958.
Better.
It's a gajillion times better.
I mean, that looks like shit.
It looks way better than your Gwangi.
It's 10 years.
It's 10 years earlier.
Older, yeah.
I think this has just as much charm and coolness aspect to it.
I completely disagree.
I love like this. I love the scene with the pterodactyl where it picks up Lope, whatever that kid's name was.
Lope, yeah.
Lopez.
It picks up Lope,
Mario,
and they like fly him around, and he's sitting there. I'm like, I don't know how they did that. How'd they do that? Did they have a crane? Did
they have a claw come down?
Because they had
the kid was stop motion too.
The kid was stop motion.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because he was running, and then like the thing picked him up and it flew away.
Seamless.
It looked like it was like a crane or something. They picked him up on some wires.
I'm sorry, bro.
I
just can't get this movie any slack.
Even that scene where like she jumps the horse doing the dive.
Oh, that was straight up like a model that just threw in the water. That shit was so funny.
But the basic story about this movie is there's like this like kind of like Buffalo Bill Cowboys and Indians Wild West show in Mexico. And this guy who used to be involved in the show comes down there to try to recruit their star attraction to a different traveling circus so like he can get commission because he's saving up to buy this ranch. And while they're down there, there's this group of gypsies that finds this like teacup horse that's like a real oddity. And it comes from this like mystical valley that the Romanis are trying to like, protect. But the people in the carnival are like, oh, we need to go get more of this stuff. And so they find this hidden valley in Mexico where there are like dinosaurs and like all types of like crazy creatures. And they're stuck in there for a while. And eventually they lure Gwangi, who's like the big kind of Tyrannosaurus Rex, out of the valley, and they bring him back to the carnival, and they're going to do this big reveal. And of course, there's a fun-sized person, a midget, who comes in and ruins everything by
awesome.
releasing the Gwangi on the public. And the Gwangi starts rampaging through the town, and they end up killing it in the most heartbreaking and brutal way possible by burning it alive in a church.
Yes.
And it takes a long time for this thing to die. In fact, it doesn't die from the fire or from all the wounds that were inflicted upon it. The church collapses on it, and it's crushed by falling rock.
This dinosaur is as hard to kill as Tormata.
Dude, I don't know, man. I had fun. I love the scenes like we just watched here on the screen, the scene with the bull. And I'm like, some of that was real. How much of that was real? That dude got mauled by a bull in that scene.
Probably, yeah.
They were like 1967. I'd be fine.
But I mean, it's
in print.
This was originally meant to be a sequel to King Kong. It was going to be like,
a
sequel or like a response to?
No, it was the follow-up to King Kong because the guy who did all the special effects for King Kong was the one who was like kind of championing this movie. And it was going to be about people who go back to like, the Skull Island where they found Kong and like, bring back a dinosaur. But he could never get it made. And so like they made it its own thing. And it's basically the story is like King Kong.
Yeah, it's King Kong 2.0.
I would really like to see El Mariachi director.
Robert Rodriguez.
I want to see Robert Rodriguez make this. I want a remake.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
I want to remake. I want to remake too.
But but he has to like really fix it, like really fix it, and make it make sense. Because this movie, it made no sense from the get go. It's so dumb.
You know what's funny about this movie is like, so it's got all these sequences where the cowboys are like, trying to fight Gwangi and like, fight other like dinosaurs and stuff like that. And so the movie feels very slow and boring because you're watching these at the time were like revolutionary special effects sequences where you're supposed to be like, oh, look at the special effects. But now we're so far removed from that time period that it literally slows the movie's pace to a crawl when you're watching this stuff. Because you're like, oh, they're chasing the dinosaur again. You know, how many times do we have to watch the same scene play out over and over?
I don't even feel like these are revolutionary special effects because they're not.
Well, they were at the time.
No, they weren't, because I just watched a trailer and I've seen this other movies from the same people that do this special effects. That's a million times better.
I think that might be nostalgia talking.
No, I don't think it is.
Like I watched it too, and it's cool.
It's not even comparable.
I disagree. I think it looks just as cool as this.
No.
This is like
No.
I don't know. I think it looks good.
No.
I mean, I can agree. Like 10 years advanced, you think they might change something, but this movie probably didn't have much of a budget.
Look at 10 years ago now compared to today.
Well, we're reviewing Two Towers, 20-year-old CGI. It still looks fucking awesome.
Still looks good. There's some cracks beginning of the show.
There's a few, but there's cracks in the original Jurassic Park that are starting to show.
But this just looks like some cheap ass. I don't even want to say vanity project because I feel like it was just like I don't even know why they would have made this movie, because there's nothing. It's not even original. It's a
King Kong. It's a King Kong ripoff. Yeah,
with the dinosaur. Yeah, it's like a movie you'd go make right now.
Yeah,
for fun.
In my backyard with action figures and toys,
and that's what it feels like. It's like.
I had fun with it, man.
Mexicans, cowboys, gypsies, dinosaurs, a bullfighting ring in a church, and a bunch of people running around in 1,000 different directions. Just look scared, everybody.
and an evil midget.
Yeah. What was that guy's deal? Why did he release Gwangi? Was he working for like a competition circus or something?
No, because he was one of the gypsies.
So
they weren't supposed to. He was like the little sidekick of the gypsy lady.
Yeah, so like the gypsies' whole thing. So like at a certain point, they steal the teacup horse to try to return it back to the valley, and so their whole thing was always like, if it's out of the valley, it's got to go back into the valley. And so the midget guy was trying to free Gwangi to have him go back. Although I don't know what his plan was, because he loosens the cage and then climbs up the cage and gets eaten instantly.
Yeah. Well, I think the movie was like, hey, if you're not a white guy or a sexy girl, you're up for grabs as far as like this monster eating you. Yeah. So like Carlos gets eaten.
Poor Carlos.
Yeah. The guy that loosens the cage gets eaten.
All the Romani tribe at the beginning, from the beginning, ends up dying by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the gypsy lady told that guy, like, if you do this, if you take that teacup horse, bad things are going to happen to you. And then later on, bad things happen to him and he gets eaten by a dinosaur. And she's like, haha, I told you so.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't not set up. She warned him. He was a freaking mini horse thief.
Listen, if a lady in an eye patch gives you an omen, you fucking listen to it.
Yeah, you listen to it.
She says you can't take things out of the Forbidden Valley, otherwise you're cursed forever.
Yeah.
So you have to put the thing back. And that's what they did.
So
they tried.
And then those stupid cowboys followed them and, pulled a King Kong. So whatever.
So you mentioned Clash of the Titans earlier, and the lady with the eye patch who gives like the proclamation of like, oh, you're all gonna die. Mm-hmm. Like when I first watched this, I was like, oh, she's giving me like, remember the witches in Clash of the Titans that like have to look through the ball that like to see they have to share the one like crystal ball. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, she totally reminds me of those witches in Clash of the Titans. So,
okay, I got more King Kong references from that. Remember the witch? I think it was Peter Jackson's King Kong when the old lady was like Tally Kong and her face was all fucked up. Yeah, that's the vibe I got from her.
Okay.
I think the dumbest death in this entire movie was Professor Bromley.
Oh, that guy.
So like John Hammond.
Basically there's this paleontologist who's out here in the desert, kind of like looking for stuff, and he's got hints that there's these creatures in this like hidden valley, and so like he's one of the driving forces of getting Tuck to become greedy and actually going into this valley and pulling creatures out of there. And when the big reveal of Gwangi at the carnival at the end happens, he comes running up to the cage as Gwangi is like breaking through, like runs right up to it and sits there and is like, as like the cage falls on top of him. Yeah, like it was the dumbest death I think I've ever seen.
Well,
in a
he's
movie.
the same guy who like they think he's dead, and then he comes back and he's like, "Hey, that was crazy, right?" They were like, "We have to leave him behind," because he was like, "Oh, I can't go because dinosaurs, cool."
Didn't he fall into the pit that they made?
Yeah.
he did. He fell into the pit.
He triggers the trap, and they're like, "We got him!" And it's just the scientist guy. He's like,
And they all
"Wasn't
have-
that crazy? You should avoid this. This seems like a pit."
Yeah. And they all have like a good laugh about it. It was
Yeah.
like this weird comedy moment in the middle
I
of this
had
movie.
a good laugh. I laughed through the whole movie.
I did too.
I laughed when he died. That was kind of funny.
Yeah. I can't get over the
Cage fell on him.
I laughed. Dude,
Thank God this movie's over.
I can't believe you
He
didn't like this
survived
movie.
so much up until that point, and he dies because a cage falls off.
The shit that Tucker says to the chick, I thought for sure you were gonna be like, this movie's fucking hilarious. Like, no, don't say nothing, or I'm gonna put you over my knee. Like, shit like that is right up your alley, dude.
I was so checked out.
Oh.
This movie is so
Yeah,
stupid.
the
dude.
problem is
It's
there are
bad.
there are no relatable characters in this movie.
Yeah, everyone's terrible.
Yeah, they're all awful people.
And they're chasing this tiny horse the whole movie
That poor thing looks
until
like a
they
rat.
find something better, and then they're like, "Tiny horse, who?"
Then it just fucked off, and we never saw it again.
Yeah, we never saw the tiny horse again. Because then it was Gwangi that was the focus of the show.
and they also brutally kill a pterodactyl by like breaking its neck.
That was my favorite scene in the show. I love it. They bring down the pterodactyl and it's sitting there on the ground. It's like flopping around. And
They
I
don't
think
even bring it down. It just kind of lands and doesn't
like, oh,
take
this-
off.
Well, it wants to,
too
it's trying to eat Loopy or something. It's trying to eat him, and then was it Tucker? The guy in the red shirt
think it was
runs over.
Carlos.
Carlos.
He was the
yes.
5 o'clock snack.
Yeah, and he runs up to the pterodactyl and starts wrestling it, and then finally just cracks its neck. And I was like, that's the best scene in the show. Boom, right there.
I think it was funny how like everyone just like
It might have been.
leaves Carlos behind to get eaten
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
later on in the movie.
yeah, they did him dirty.
It's like,
for
fuck
sure.
him. He's done. It's out.
That's pretty much what they
I mean,
said
what
too.
else are you gonna do?
They're like,
Look,
oh my
man,
God.
Look, if there's a T-Rex chasing us four, and one of you falls behind and gets eaten, sayonara.
If there's a
It's gonna-
T-Rex chasing four of us, and one of you's named Carlos,
Yeah.
you're dying.
If there's a T-Rex chasing us, I'm gonna be the one running towards it. Well, you guys are running away from it.
And I'll say, see you later.
Like, look, guys, it's a dinosaur.
Yeah,
Alex's dinner.
That's his version of "Take Me With You."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be eaten by a dinosaur.
Can't wait to tell my kids.
Woo! It's gonna be great.
I don't think you thought this
What
through, buddy.
what this movie needed was Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges?
Yeah. If it's gonna be a King Kong remake, it needs
Jeff Bridges is King Kong sucked, bro.
No,
What do you,
it did
that's not the benchmark.
It is the superior.
It is
King Kong.
not the superior one.
absolutely the
That
superior King
70s
Kong.
pile of shit
Fuck
movie.
yeah. Yeah, Charles Grodin,
No.
Jessica Lange.
I've seen it. It's so he climbs the freaking Twin Towers, dude. He's
it
not
is
even on
the
the
best.
Empire State
Yeah.
Building.
I think this movie needs Jeff Goldblum.
I agree with that. 100%.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
And Will Smith.
Yeah.
I could have been at a barbecue.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
All right. I don't know what else to say about this. I had fun with it. This is dinosaurs. You know this is up my alley. I love watching these old school graphics. The fight with the elephant was hilarious with the ADR freaking like some dude in the background with a microphone was so goofy. The breaking of the pterodactyl's neck, best scene in the show. Loved it. I'm going to give it a solid 2.5 stars right down the middle for me.
That's strong.
That's
2.5
2.5 stars.
As much as
I
you gushed,
expect
you're
nothing
giving us
less.
2.5 stars.
2.5 stars. It's got flaws.
You're a weak bitch.
What do you give it?
You
I
have to
feel
give
like
this.
you talked him out of a 5-star review.
This is a 1-star
Crap fest?
shit fest.
Oh, no.
Absolutely. No, it's terrible. I'm angry I had to waste an hour and a half of my life watching this.
You've been telling me that all week.
It's
like, you son of a bitch.
fuck you, man. This movie's terrible. It's like the worst movie I think we've watched all year. It's really close.
Yeah, on Sunday, like after you left, we were all hanging out, and he was still like, "Oh, fucking Alex and this stupid movie." We were like,
Stupid
"Bro,
Gwangi."
we can't talk about it yet. We gotta save it for when we talk about it." He was like, "I gotta get this off
got
my
this-
chest." Like that
this-
movie. Oh, I fucking hated it.
This miniature little donkey thing.
You're giving it a 1 star. Is that
Oh,
your
absolutely.
Okay.
It half star.
You're lowering it.
Yeah, I don't even know what I would give it even that for. It might be a 0. It might be a nothing.
You gonna give it a Blumpkin?
Give it a fucking Kentucky Hershey bar or whatever the fuck they call it.
Don't Google that. Don't Google that. Nobody Google what that is.
God, that's Patreon content. If you are confused right now, it's for a reason.
No, it's terrible.
We went off on a tangent.
Oh, we want to know. Yeah.
What things mean in our Patreon. Go to saltynerdclub.com.
Sign up. $5 a month. We're doing Twilight Zone this week.
And sex.
And weird sex shit.
It's absolutely a 1-star crap fest.
Behind the paywall. All right,
There's
Jude.
no excuse for this movie.
Okay. Jude, what do you give it for a rating?
This was, in retrospect, it was hilarious. But while I was watching it, as soon as it ended, I went, oh, so boring. So it didn't make me angry to watch it. However, if I have to watch it again, I will be very upset. So this is 1.5 tiny horses out of 5.
You know, one of the reasons we like to do these retro rewatches is because these movies are supposed to be fun and give us some nostalgia and go, wow, look at what they did with movies 60 years ago or 100, whatever it is now, you know.
100 years ago.
And I felt none of that watching it.
And the problem of doing retro WeWatch with Alex is that he will jerk off to any dinosaur on a screen anytime.
They're so rarely done right. Like
this is not an example of them
this
being
was not
done right.
No, listen, but my genre that I like is dinosaur movies. Really, the only thing I have is freaking Jurassic Park. Nobody else can do it right.
Your genre movie is Jurassic Park.
You need a new genre.
That's not a genre. That's a movie franchise.
The only other person I've ever seen do dinosaurs with any kind of like proper respect is Peter Jackson from King Kong. Like there was a dope ass dinosaur scene in that movie.
I would rather review softcore porn than
I'm not doing
all of your dinosaur bullshit that you make us watch.
He really doesn't.
Wasn't there dinosaurs?
He really doesn't make us watch a lot because there isn't a lot.
It's like once a year, dude.
Yeah.
Like I had the opportunity to do a whole week of dinosaur movies, and I was like, I couldn't find any
because there aren't.
They're terrible.
They're all terrible like this.
Yep.
This isn't that bad.
This dude is bro.
This is not as bad as some of the ones I've seen. Put it that way. I have a different perspective on dinosaur movies because I watch things with dinosaurs in them.
If you want to watch a good dinosaur movie,
that's a whole different bar.
They're
it's
so
not as
low.
bad as some of the other bullshit I've watched. No.
Jurassic Hunt was so fucking bad.
Have you seen Jurassic Cunt?
Whoa! My goodness! If you want to watch a good dinosaur movie, you gotta watch Caveman.
I have watched it. It's bullshit.
Awesome. It's awesome.
Okay.
And you at least laugh.
give it a rating, Candace. What do you got for us?
So what's funny about this movie is that it feels almost like a spaghetti western, like a Gallo movie, where like you have people being overdubbed. Just the look of it, it feels like one of those like made cheaply in Italy, rip off American movies. The fact that Ray Harryhausen, this legend of cinema, was involved with this, it's very weird because the special effects in this movie are quite impressive for the time. But because the director had kind of checked out during the making of the movie, he didn't shoot everything that Harryhausen needed in order to properly do this stuff. And so like you see like a lot of mistakes where like the colors of the dinosaurs shift from like shot to shot and scene to scene.
And the size.
And the size and stuff like that. But like the scene where they're roping Gwangi and you have an interaction between, live action and stop motion animation, that was actually very advanced for the time. And it was stuff like this that kind of like led Spielberg down the road of like, okay, when I'm making my Jurassic Park movie, do I want to go the stop motion route? And they actually can like seriously consider doing that before like they realized, oh, CGI can do this like much better. And then that changed cinema forever. So there are some good things about this movie, but overall, like there are no redeemable characters. The pace of the movie is very slow because like they spend a lot of time showing you these special effects sequence that really don't have any emotional weight to them, and also are so outdated that like you just don't care anymore. There's a lot of people just like riding around on horses for like long periods of time in this movie.
They have scenes where they're just like riding back and forth for a
It's
while
I think they just,
while like two people are talking.
I think they just had scenes and they were going left on this one scene. They were like, we don't have time to reshoot that. Let's just flip the image and have them go the other direction.
I will admit, the scene where the pterodactyl has the kid, and he comes down and picks the kid up, and they're all on there on their horses, and you can tell the guy in the camera's all like, "Okay, everybody, there's a giant bird above you. Act like there's something going crazy," and they're all like making the horses go around in circles and stuff. They're it's pretty funny. That was pretty funny.
But no redeemable characters. I always find it weird, like when I'm watching a movie and their main character is like the leading lady in this movie, who's very obviously overdubbed. It makes it hard to, watch sometimes. And by the end of the movie, I was really rooting for Gwangi. I just wanted him to kill everyone. And the death scene of his in the cathedral was
terrible. Like
heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking. Terrible.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, this poor freaking dinosaur.
Really made you feel bad for the monster.
Like there are lots of times where he's just like screaming in agony because like he's set on fire. Like they're shooting him with guns. They're throwing spears into him. They're collapsing a building on top of him, and he's just like an animal who was just like hanging out in his valley,
minding his own business.
It's the King Kong thing.
Yeah.
You feel bad for King Kong at the end of that movie.
But I mean, like at least King Kong, like he fell off the Empire State Building, he hit the ground, he's dead. This was like a long, torturous death where like you could hear the dinosaur like crying out in pain as it slowly burned to death. And it didn't even die from the burning. It died from being crushed by like, stone blocks of cathedral ceiling falling on top of it. Yeah. And in fact, there's a funny shot at the end of the movie where like the kid, Lupe. There's like a single tear coming down his cheek as he's listening to this creature die.
That kid did more acting than the rest of the cast combined.
The only characters in this that I'm rooting for are Diablo and Lope.
And the horse,
and the dwarf.
The horse and the kid. The dwarf released the dinosaur.
Yeah, the evil dwarf.
Yeah. There's my half star.
Because of the dwarf.
One third of the trifecta.
All right.
But overall, this was not a good movie. In fact, I was like, this is very much an Alex movie where he chooses something that only he likes and no one else does, like in the world.
Which we have all been guilty of.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I mean, like this is up there with Sahara as like the best action movie I've ever seen.
I've never said that. I said I enjoyed it. I've never said it's the best action movie ever.
So like,
if this thing had had a cannon that was been buried in the sand for 300 years.
What this movie needed was Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, something.
So like I just knew going into this that because it was an Alex pick, it wasn't going to be very good, and I was proven right. I'm with Vader on this. This is a 1-star fest. I did not enjoy this movie at all.
I think they should
1.5.
I think they should remake it with Jeff Goldblum and Mark Wahlberg. It's like
perfect.
Oh, is that fucking T-Rex? What the hell? That's fucking weird.
I could see Wahlberg playing Tuck.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Jeff Goldblum is Carlos.
God damn it. God, y'all a bunch of haters.
The Forbidden Valley just, has a way of being.
So, did you get a load of that tiny horse?
What's up with that tiny horse over there?
What's up with that tiny horse over there?
You think it's got a mother? I want to say hi to it.
I'm not playing this game anymore.
All right, let's wrap this up.
We need a new game.
All right, comment below. Are you with me? Is this a nostalgic rundown, the history of dinosaur movies, or is it a piece of crap like the rest of my co-hosts think?
It's a piece of crap.
For it to be
I want to
nostalgic.
save you the trouble. It's a piece of crap.
For something to be nostalgic, don't you have to have some kind of like fond memories of it from your youth?
Nostalgic
you've never seen this movie before.
Film nostalgia, like how they used to make old films.
Nostalgia
like that's
for
what
a time.
Yeah, like I'm not a big fan of our retro WeWatch thing because I just don't like movies from like the early days of cinema, like pre 1970.
Yeah.
But yeah, you make us watch that Batman nonsense. So
that stuff's fun. But I'm not a big fan of these retro WeWatches to begin with. But then like when I see movies like these, I'm just like, oh god, these are pretty bad.
All right. Comment below what you thought of this episode. And if you're brand new here, like, subscribe. We're doing a whole month of retro movies. And special notice for you guys, we have completely exclusive, 100% behind the paywall episodes about the Twilight Zone available right now. So head over to saltynerdclub.com and help support the podcast. It's only $5 a month, and you guys get access to 5 special podcasts for the month of November, plus a huge backlog of other content that you can check out as well, where we do things like the original Star Trek show, Doctor Who, Stargate Atlantis, all kinds of fun stuff.
And we have been having a blast with the Twilight Zone episodes. The original Rod Serling ones. They're so much fun.
And it's just cigarette and sex the whole time.
Yeah.
So fun.
This is
the Twilight Zone.
The Twilight Zone.
Love it.
Oh.
All right, V, where can people find you on the socials?
They can find me looking for new things to watch that aren't in black and white and made with claymation. Over at, is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
at Matt Vader 74
There you go.
on the social networks and the things.
Perfect.
Over on Elon TV or whatever the fuck. it's
Vader's
called.
been killing it on Twitter ever since
Dude,
Elon took over.
I've been pushing so many buttons.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
that's what
ban me now.
that's what everybody's doing.
Anyway, it's fun.
All
It's fun.
he's ever wanted.
Yeah, permission to be an ass.
That's it.
All right, Jude, where can they find you at?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on the socials, and check out our Facebook group at saltynerdgroup.com.
All right, Matthew Kadish, take it away.
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter and Truth Social. And if you have an Apple device and you'd be so kind as to take a minute to go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star rating. We're trying to get 200 5-star ratings in order to be officially accredited as movie reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes. So if you have an Apple device, just take a minute or two to hop on over there. And you don't even have to write us a review. Just leave us 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it.
And if you have a good dinosaur movie that is not part of the Jurassic Park franchise, shout it out to me on our Discord channel. We actually have a chat dedicated to dinosaurs. It's called Fuck Yeah Dinosaurs. It's in there in Discord, saltynerd.discord.com. Post your suggestions and I'll check them out.
But
And
be aware, if you make us watch it, just have a thick skin because the rest of us will probably shred it.
I'm used to it by now. Anyway,
Yeah, so if you don't want us to shred your movie, don't post it. But if you're cool, maybe we'll check it out.
if you want to torture us, post it.
Yeah.
Anyway, have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Stay salty.